So this video is about, is beauty subjective or objective? So there's the subjective, the individual or the relative. There's the objective, the universal or the absolute. So when someone says this painting is beautiful, or this woman is beautiful, or Alaska is beautiful, or this mathematical equation is beautiful, is that a subjective statement or objective statement? And is beauty itself just in the eye of the beholder, or is it there's an objective aspect to it, that there's this certain hierarchy where we can determine what's more beautiful or ugly? So there's the three transcendental values of truth, goodness, and beauty. They're all triune, they all are one. What is true and good is beautiful. What is good is true, and they're all interconnected. What is false, ugly, and evil, or false, good and evil, true and false, ugly and beautiful, they're all interconnected. And I wrote down, so Alaska, a woman, and mathematics, and music. And I chose these specific categories of beauty because one is nature, the natural. One is attraction to the man or woman. Another is an abstract form like mathematics. And music is a bit of both abstract and physical. Sensual pleasure, your auditory perception and something you're beholding. You could also use art as an example, but there's these different aspects of beauty. They usually kind of condense into these main forms, usually through fine arts, through attraction of a woman, beauty standards, or different taste of being cultured, so music, or kind of the different expert levels of the higher up you go, the more beautiful. And beauty is associated with perfection. If it is deformed or kind of spoiled or degraded, it's ugly, it's brought down from perfection, it's imperfect, it's corrupted. Beauty is more associated with it's closer to perfection, it's closer to the ideal state. So when I went to Alaska, I was questioning this topic about beauty. I was thinking about it, what is beauty? Is it subjective or objective? And I took a trip to Alaska, and I think I really just saw, it was just so clear to me what beauty was. These mountains, and it just kind of made your jaw drop. I've never seen anything like it, and I've traveled like all around the world. Just seeing the mountains at sunset in like a small plane, it was just incredible, and I thought it was, pure beauty. And this is what beauty is. It gave a sense of awe and just made you feel so small, and it's so big and magnificent, and kind of has this eternal aspect to it that man can build all this stuff but will never reach these levels of construction of like these mountains that were thousands of feet in the air, that we could never even get close to this level. It's something that's natural and kind of beyond man. And so when someone says a woman's beautiful, or this landscape's beautiful, or this mathematical equation's beautiful, is that a subjective statement or an objective statement? And there's two aspects of beauty. There's admirable beauty, admirable, and that is objective beauty, which is kind of like Plato's forms. It's this eternal, it has a qualitative aspect to it that we can objectively say this is beautiful or not beautiful, and it has these certain traits to it. And there is an objective beauty because you can look at a painting or a woman, and you can do something to make the painting uglier, maybe throw something on it, or do something to make the woman uglier, or just say like a painting because it's more abstract, or something that you can make more beautiful or more ugly. Then you're saying there's some standard that makes something more beautiful or more ugly. So there is an objective aspect to it. There's certain qualities that, if you hear a really ugly song, it usually has to do with dissonance. It doesn't have harmony, rhythm. If you hear a beautiful song, there's usually concord, unity, harmony. You can also look at art in proportions and symmetry. If it's very asymmetrical, or if it's without symmetry, without like congruence, it's usually more ugly. But not always the case, but usually the more symmetry, the more proportions, the more harmony, it's more beautiful. You look at the Mona Lisa or these famous paintings that have this beautiful symmetry. You look at a diamond with all its symmetry. You look at certain, gems, or that has to do with, perfection and imperfections. But the more beautiful something is, the more harmony it has. So Thomas Aquinas had these three descriptions of beauty, which was proportion or harmony, integrity or perfection, or brightness or clarity, which is like radiance. So there's clarity, integrity, and harmony. These three are kind of the central point to what beauty is. And his definition for beauty was that which we take pleasure in when we behold, which can be a wide range of things, but that's what this subjective beauty is. So the objective beauty, admirable beauty. The subjective beauty, which is the eye of the beholder, is enjoyable beauty, which is something that you get pleasure out of when you behold it. Something when you apprehend it, you get pleasure out of. Painting, a woman, a song, more than rather even give an example of like a football game or a sports game that you get pleasure out of watching. It's beautiful to you. So there's these two different routes of the subjective, individual, relative, eye of the beholder, which has to do with your perception. It has to do with your taste. And taste is an interesting word which David Hume talks a lot about in his philosophy, which is this subjective thing, but also has objective qualities to it. So the debate is, can someone's taste be elevated? Can you cultivate a taste? And who's to decide what the taste is? Someone has a great taste in music. What does that actually mean? Because someone that likes these certain pieces that they think is, they have great taste. Someone else might just say, I hate that type of music and I like this type of music. So it seems very subjective. But also when you're a child and you don't appreciate the beautiful things, you have to cultivate a taste. So you get educated, you get cultured, you learn, like Mozart, or, these different things that once you get more knowledge of it, it becomes more beautiful and you mature into it. So there's levels of taste. But taste has to be cultivated, and the question is, who's the judge of who has a good taste? And I think the answer to that is, when it comes to admirable beauty, there's these different hierarchies of excellence in a certain form. So there's these Platonic forms of, the form of a chair, or the form of an animal, or the form of a song or something. There's a different level of excellence to that form. So there's the best chair, or the ideal chair, or maybe like a certain building of architecture. There's different skyscrapers, but maybe you can rank them in like the best size skyscraper. But you can't rank its beauty and its perfection based on another category. It has to be in the same category. So there's a perfect cow or a perfect dog, but you can't compare a dog to a cow or a cat to a whale, because they're different categories, they're different genres of beings or forms. So every form has a certain ideal, perfection, excellence you can reach. There's even fields and crafts and different skills that you can reach excellence to. That's beauty. When you reach that admirable state, that's just objectively excellent. So admirable beauty or objective beauty is these certain qualities, probably proportion, harmony, clarity. They're these qualities that can be perfected, and they're independent of man's perception of them. So a beautiful hill, or a beautiful mountain, or something, its beauty is independent of man's perception if it's beautiful or not, because it's got these distinct qualities that reaches this level of excellence. But then there's the subjective aspect of the eye of the beholder, or how do you perceive it? So our perception is constantly changing. What we perceive as beautiful is constantly changing, but what is objectively beautiful never changes. It's got this eternal aspect to it. So it's the same thing with truth or goodness. What is objectively true never changes. It's absolute, it's eternal. But our perception of what is true is constantly changing because, we think a certain way, our logic is flawed, or maybe we don't see the full reality, we don't see the full picture. So beauty also has to do with your eyes being opened. It's a liberation, it's an unveiling. When you bring your bride, comes before you for a wedding, you lift up the veil. Her beauty is shown because beauty is hidden. It doesn't show itself. It's not prideful. It's not boastful. It doesn't come out in the open. It doesn't want attention. It's actually a hidden thing. Like, so when I went to Alaska, these mountains were very remote. I mean, it's not like in the big city. It's just in the middle of nowhere. The beauty is in the unseen, hidden things that are unveiled to you. So in Revelation, there's an unveiling of God face to face. And the book, The Divine Comedy, the poem, Dante takes this journey and he gets to paradise. He gets to the very end and he sees God face to face. And it's called the Beatific Vision. Beatific Vision, I don't know how to say it. So Beatrice carries him up and he goes into heaven and he sees like thousands of angels. Gustave Doré did this engraving on wood of this base. It's like a painting, but it's actually a wood carving. But it's this beautiful picture. You should look it up, the Beatific Vision, Dante's Paradise. And it's like seeing God face to face, ultimate beauty, capital B. That's what true beauty is. It's perfection, face to face. And there's also something that has to do with knowledge and beauty. I mean, the more you know, the more beautiful it is in a way. Like, if you think of a woman, when you first see her, she's beautiful, but you can't conflate or conflict beauty with attraction, sexual attraction. There is an attraction that's natural to beautiful things, but they're not the same as this attraction, sexual attraction. That can be turned into lust and something that's not true beauty and true love. But I blank what I'm saying. So something about a woman. About knowledge. So the more you know someone, it's kind of like they become more beautiful or kind of more ugly sometimes, but the deeper you know them, the more beautiful they are to you. Or the deeper someone studies this painting, has known this painting for 3 decades, and they just love this. The more knowledge there is, the more beauty you can kind of see. Kind of opens your eyes more. The more you see inside them, the more you become one with the object. It's this unity. I mean, when you marry someone, you become one. It's a union, and the closer you become one, the more intimate it is, the more knowledge you have of them, the more beautiful they become. If you're on the side of the street and someone doesn't really care about your wife, it's not the same to them and your perception, because you know them way deeper than the other person. You know their true self. You know how really beautiful they are. Versus someone who just sees them on the outside. They're just looking at this superficial attraction. They don't really see the true beauty. And there's this attraction, repulsion. Beautiful attracts, repulsive is ugly. There's also beauty beyond just the senses. I mean, the 5 senses. So if you think about mathematical equations, they can be beautiful, but it's not always a visual aspect to them. There may be just a sense of how well it's interconnected, how well it unifies. So people say these mathematical equations that are very rigorous, and they come to this solution that this is so beautiful because how it all kind of connects together and how it's so solid, how it's so true and good. So I think there's something about mathematics that really connects Plato's forms and solidifies his arguments, that there's these eternal truths that we can't really understand. We didn't invent them, we discovered them, and it's interconnected, that something that is perfectly true, mathematics, is also beautiful and it's also good. And I think you can connect all 3, truth, goodness, and beauties, beautiful. Truth, goodness, beauty. I think you can connect them that there's an objectivity to all of them. If there's a true and a false to anything, which there is, because that's how we discern any type of judgment we ever make. Mathematics, there's a right and wrong to the solution. There's an objective truth to the mathematical system and logic, which uses a mathematical structure. If there's truth, which we know there is in mathematics, universal truth. Mathematics is universal. If there's truth, then there must be a truth in good and evil. There must be a true moral stance because there's true and false. So true and false, good and evil, there has to be true statements and good or evil actions. So in the intellect, there's truth and falsehood. In the actions, there's good and bad. And in beauty, there's beautiful and ugly. There's this aesthetic virtue. So there's the intellectual virtue, the moral virtue, and the aesthetic virtue. The aesthetic judgments do have objective truths that exist. And our perception is changing. Taste is iffy because it's like who defines it. I think it's the same way that we define what is true and false. There's a logical structure to it. There's an intuition behind it. Beauty there's an intuitive aspect to human nature that we can comprehend, apprehend, intuitively know beautiful things. We can know something that's more beautiful or ugly, less beautiful. And it just has to do with perfection. Something that is more good is more perfect. The ultimate good is the ultimate, perfection. The ultimate true is the ultimate perfection. The ultimate beautiful is perfection. Anything that deviates from perfection is less true, less good, less beautiful. So there must be a standard that we can judge of ultimate truth, ultimate falsehood, ultimate goodness, ultimate evil, ultimate beauty, ultimate ugliness. Or being ugly, I don't know. But if you were out in nature and you something hits you like, whoa, that's so beautiful, or you just it's almost like it comes around the corner of like you don't expect it. A lot of beautiful things you just perceive and you didn't seek it. It was seeking you. I mean, usually when a woman comes into your life, it's like you just catches your eye and they're just now you see beauty. It's not like you can mathematically seek out beauty. It's just unveiled before you. It's revealed to you. It's like a hidden gem. It also has to do with ascension, descension. You go into Dante's Paradise. As he goes up, he goes more towards the beautiful, he goes more towards perfection, he goes towards the light. Anything that's upward is more beautiful. So there's a hierarchy of things, excellent things. The higher up you go, the more beautiful it gets. And there's this eternal aspect to beautiful things, but they'll never be truly perfectly beautiful because they're not eternal. The only thing that is perfectly beautiful is eternal. So if you take, for example, the Mona Lisa, it's endured through all the generations because of its beauty, but they're doing all these processes to preserve the painting, or they have it keep in a certain glass, they clean it or whatever, they add more paint, they do whatever they can to preserve, but it's temporary. Eventually it will die. Eventually the elements can't last forever. It will eventually degrade down. They can't preserve it any longer. It's been a few hundred years, but things decay and disintegrate and get destroyed. The only true thing that is beautiful in its true sense is eternal. But they have these eternal aspects to them, like almost like they're eternal. They have an eternal sense to them that they will last forever. It's like the Mona Lisa has lasted hundreds of years and it feels like it will just keep enduring. The Constitution, this document that it just keeps enduring. It's got this eternal aspect to it. It's something beautiful behind it, something eternal behind it. There are grades that we can judge things on for taste. Like music, there's good and bad music. But the most difficult question is, what's the best song to ever exist? And I think that goes back to the categorization error, that you're like saying what's the best piece of architecture to ever exist, but there's different categories of architecture. There's the best skyscraper, the best temple, the best church. There's different forms of things, so you can't really compare that to the best one. And there's an unrelated topic. It doesn't seem very related, but it is related, that I thought about, which is rarity and beauty. And rarity is a subjective thing. I mean, what is rare is only dependent upon who thinks is worth that. So if you're in war, I mean, this boy that gets killed, no one cares about as much as the father that's his son. Or these trading cards, they have certain worth to them, but the one that's the highest worth, someone that didn't care about that type of trading card, say like someone in some random state in the middle of nowhere that's a farmer and they don't care about that stuff, like trading cards, that means nothing to them. It's like a piece of cardboard they'll throw in the trash. But to this one person that values this history behind this card, or whatever the history behind it is, or they collect it or whatever it is, they value this so much and it's worth millions to them, this Mickey Mantle card or one of one limited edition printed in this. They care so much about it, but the rarity is only subjective to who actually will pay for that, who actually cares about it. People care about different things. I mean, most high school kids don't care about paintings or, Da Vinci paintings. And if they saw one at a garage sale, it would just be like another piece of trash to them. But to the person that has studied Da Vinci since they were a child and they're obsessed with him, and they, are a professor and they live for this stuff, that is like millions of dollars to them. They care so much about to preserve it, and to think about these people in these museums that preserve this stuff with such high precision and care and detail. When the public comes by, and most of them look at it and like, what is even this? They don't even read the bio on what it even is. They don't care about the history. Some do, some really care, but very few. Like, it means nothing to them. Like, they could go to the, tomb of this Egyptian pharaoh and just knock it over because they don't care. Like, it's just a joke. They get their picture with it and they don't even know what it is. It's like, so rarity has to do with beauty as well, because the scarcity of it, the rarity of it, increases its beauty sometimes. I mean, I think about like the Ferrari, and you take an old Ferrari, and when you see an individual one at some Italian home, it's so classy and rare and beautiful. You don't think about the production line of like 100 of them, because it kind of devalues it. It's not as rare. It's like, it doesn't look as attractive. But when it's just a single one of one, old, no one else has it, it's pristine condition, it's just so beautiful. And that's why I was kind of relating the rarity thing to beauty. Seems like, I mean, think about how many cars are one of one that they, built, but no one ever cared about it. Versus some things are not one of one, but they're still beautiful and kind of rare in a way. I mean, like the old GTO Ferrari or something. It's just this collectible, like these items that are collectibles that people see as beautiful. That is really questions the whole objective beauty thing, because these collectors see them as beautiful, but no one else cares. So that's true, subjective beauty, eye in the beholder. But it also has to do with the knowledge thing, because their knowledge of the object or the history behind it, or where this comes from, how it's made, how many there are, like why it's so rare, the knowledge adds to the beauty. So is it subjective or objective? It's objective, just like truth is, just like moral judgments are and goodness is. But the subjective part is our perception of what we perceive as beautiful. Just like what we perceive as true, which changes constantly. And everyone is individual and has a different perception, and maybe even a different attraction to different things. But it's very easy to conflict the attraction and beauty, because they're so closely correlated. What is beautiful is attractive to you. It brings you in, but it may not be true beauty. It's just something that's attracting you. It's kind of like the sirens in Homer's Odyssey. They can lure you in through lust or appearance of beauty, but it's a deception. It's just it's false desire that's bringing your bad desires. True beauty and true goodness and truth brings in your good desires. It's perfected beauty. It's kind of holy and blessed, and you behold it. It's something that benefits you. It enlightens you. It liberates you. That's the other thing. It's a liberation. If someone comes to the truth, they're liberated. If someone comes to the good side, they're liberated. If someone sees beauty, it's liberation. It's freedom. It's seeing. It's having vision, kind of like the Pacific Vision and Dante. It's coming to the truth, seeing God face to face, seeing truth face to face. Transformative. That's the thing about beauty as well. It transforms you. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it changes your perception that you reach a new level of excellence, that everything below this will never seem as good as what you just saw. So someone that has a lack of knowledge, truth, wisdom, they don't appreciate beautiful things. They're not cultured and they don't care. They don't understand. They don't, things that are truly valuable, they throw in the dirt, and things that are not valuable, they lift up high. They idolize it. It's a complete inversion of your natural way of living. It's you're going for the false desires, the false sensual pleasures that are not the high things that man is meant for. You're meant for higher pleasures, higher goods. And when man doesn't have the higher pleasures, knowledge, truth, goodness, beauty, they go for the lower pleasures, which corrupts you. The highest pleasures are incorruptible. They're eternal. They're not temporary. They last. They're enduring. The pleasures that come and go, fleeting, temporary, quick, it's just destruction. It never brings true fulfillment. So there's a verse in the Bible that says, don't throw your pearls to swine, basically. And it's saying, don't take this valuable, it could be wisdom, it could be actual material value, it could be something that's worth so much, that's sentimental, and throw it to the swine, the pigs that will trample over it in the mud. They don't care about it. They're just gonna destroy it because it means nothing to them. So I think that verse was actually in context was talking about your words, that you don't try to associate or give high, good things of value to someone that doesn't care about it. They're a fool. They're going to trample on it. They're going to devalue what is so highly valued. I mean, this is kind of a weird connection, but if you think about like UPS or FedEx or these package companies, they don't know what they're carrying in there. And it could be something so cheap, or it could be something extremely valuable, sentimental, that someone is sending to someone. And the guy with the headphones that tosses this box in the truck or the plane or the van, he has no idea what the worth and value in what's inside that package. I mean, it could be the most valuable thing that's just lost because they're just doing their job, and whatever's in there could be anything. They don't think about that. They just think about delivering a package, delivering a box. But think about if that's someone's like engagement ring or someone's one of one something so valuable that's like really should be hand delivered. But I'm just giving an example of, don't leave the beautiful, valuable, rare things to people that don't care. I think there's also a verse in Proverbs where it was talking about who cares about how much, or maybe it was Ecclesiastes. It was talking about the meaningless of life and meaninglessness. And it was saying, you gain up all this wealth and inheritance and you pass it on to your child. And what about a child that's a fool and just wastes it all and doesn't care? And it's like, what was the purpose of gaining all that just for it to be lost? So don't let people waste your time, your resources, your energy. And the one last thing I'll say about beauty is there's the natural and the artificial. And I think true beauty is in the natural. It's in what's created by God, earth, not by man. I mean, man creates beautiful things, but it's really just imitating nature. It's imitating the creator. We're creators ourselves, but we're imitating the real creator. And painting, song, anything we see as beautiful is an imitation of nature and the natural. And true beauty is really in the natural that I found. I mean, the beauty of a car has these curves that mimics the natural of a woman, or the beauty of a painting mimics the natural landscape that they were painting it. They were painting a mountain, and you look at the mountain, it's more beautiful because it's a natural thing. Natural woman. Nature is very beautiful. We imitate nature with art. And seek the natural things, not the artificial things. I did a video about natural and artificial. Seek the natural. That's where the true beauty lies, in the natural things. Relationships, nature. And also, there's beauty in the abstract forms. Mathematics is an example, but these things that tap into this realm that we don't really understand, but we know it's true. Logic, music, mathematics. It's a different language that is so set and solid. And that's how you know something is true and good as well as when it's beautiful. I mean, a theory or it's not the criteria of a truth, true hypothesis is that it's true and good, or that it's beautiful. I mean, there's some deception there where they seek beautiful things and they get the wrong answer. But when something is true, it's good, it will come out beautiful. Or when it's beautiful, it's true, it will be good. You can mix around all three however much you want, but they all equal the same thing. Because just seeking truth and wisdom is seeking beauty. I know I said earlier that you can't really seek it. It's kind of something that's unveiled or hidden. You kind of just comes upon you, you receive it. But when you're seeking truth and goodness, you'll find beauty. And anyway, around the three, if you're seeking goodness, you'll find truth. If you're seeking truth, seeking beauty, you'll find truth. You'll try to find goodness. They're all connected. They're all triune. They're all unified. And the more knowledge you have, the more wisdom you gain. You'll cultivate your taste. You'll say someone that acquired a lot of money or wealth, or they started from the bottom and they move their way up. You notice that they start to change how they dress, what they eat, the places they go, the things they do in their free time. You notice they kind of start to look more beautiful in a way. I mean, like say they're overweight, they start to lose weight and get in shape. They start to have better fashion because the more power and the more money they have, the higher up the level they're going of access and things to make them more beautiful. They get famous and they have these managers that try to increase their beauty. They try to increase their status and value. And why is it the case that you go to very poor places, or it's not always true that I say that, because I was going to say you go to more poor places, you have less beauty and cultivation and culture. There's some very remote places that have beauty in different ways, and tribes and islands. Oh, that's one other thing I was going to say is when people make the argument that beauty is subjective, they use the same tactic when they say that truth is subjective, and they say that moral relativism has to do, say they take an example of some tribe in some native island where they have a different cultural moral code, where they have a different standard of beauty, where they think that women are, beauty is in different ways. Like their women that are beautiful is different to them than our Western view. But that doesn't prove that beauty is subjective or truth is subjective. Say they have a different, or that moral judgments aren't objectively true when they say that, say this tribe, their value system is they believe that cannibalism is morally good, and they believe that a beautiful woman is a very large, overweight woman that's beautiful to them. That doesn't prove that truth or beauty is subjective. All it shows and demonstrates is that different people have different perceptions of what is true and what is beautiful, and one can be right and one can be wrong. And just because their whole tribe agrees or is raised this way that this is beautiful doesn't mean it is objectively, and it doesn't mean their perception is true. It doesn't mean that their moral judgments are true. It may seem true to them or right to them that you can eat people, but you can't take an objective stance that it's right or wrong. And there's arguments you can make about these moral judgments that are solid, based on logic and a mathematical structure that you can prove, to say that eating people is not right. It's evil, it's wrong, it's ugly, it's not beautiful, it's not truthful, it's false. It's a false proposition, it's a false judgment, false perception. And people will say, oh, well, you're taking the moral high ground about how can you say yours is right and theirs is wrong. Well, how can you say this is true and this is false? Because we use the same standard on mathematics. How can you say someone has the wrong mathematical answer? Well, their numbers don't add up and they're not using the rules of logic, and that's not the solution. There's one universal solution to this mathematical equation or question. And there's a solution, there's a problem, there's a solution that's objective, that's universal. It doesn't matter your opinion on it. It's the same thing with true and false, good and evil, beautiful and ugly. There's objective standards. The dilemma you get into is when you try to say your standard is, your perception is right, their perception is wrong. How do you know which perception is right and wrong? Well, you use the rules of logic. That's the main thing. Use the rules of logic. If their logic breaks down and it's false, then it's evil and it's ugly. It has to be a consistency in the system. And also, you can take this remote island tribe that has these values and these standards of beauty, and you can take that to your suburb, and there's your neighbor that has different values and judgments. And how come you can be in your suburb and you think your neighbor's crazy for, eating this type of animal that no one eats, but then you look at this tribe and they say, oh, that's their culture and that's their, that's what they believe is normal. It's just whatever culture you're in, you're just basing your values and your judgments on that. But there is an objective stance you can take. It doesn't matter what culture you're in, the mathematics will always be the same. And you can make objective arguments. I don't know if you can make stances, because everything we say is almost subjective. It's all about our perception, but we can get closer to reality by having these consistent systems. It's more probable because we have these consistent systems that have a lot of data, a lot of arguments, a lot of things that all cohere together. And it goes back to harmony and beauty. There's a unity to it, there's a harmony to it, there's a symmetry to it, there's proportion to it, there's a clarity to it. And that's all I got. Peace.